Here we go. You ready? Do you want to do this? You're okay with this now?
Yes.
All right. Acadiana's morning news coming up now at 7:40. All right, James Proctor joining us. Okay, James, so you're with Indivisible Acadiana. Am I saying that correctly?
That's it.
Okay, so tell me about, first off, Indivisible Acadiana. Tell me about your group.
It's just a group of local people who have some very serious and personal concerns about some of the legislation that we see coming. Today, kind of specifically about the Affordable Care Act and just healthcare in general.
Okay. And we were talking about that yesterday. What is it that bothers you? Are you worried that there would be a total repeal? Because Bill Cassidy has like three different ideas.
Yes, he does. And I don't think that there's anybody on earth that's going to say that healthcare is fixed. That it definitely needs fixing. Cassidy's plan has got some very specific things in it, though, that I don't think are really going to work for the people of Louisiana.
Okay. Like what things do you think won't work?
Well, he's offering health savings accounts as kind of the pillar of his plan.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem with that is half the families in Louisiana earn less than $60,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of hard to cut out $2,000, $3,000 out of your pocket when you're earning that little. Deductibles are huge.
Yeah, deductibles are huge. But I'm sorry, Rob.
So a little bit later on this morning, 9:30 is when the town hall is supposed to start in Breaux Bridge. Is your group planning to be there for that town hall?
I'm standing outside right now.
Okay.
And so what should be expected? What's kind of your goal with today's town hall?
My goal is to get Senator Cassidy to answer our very specific questions about his health care idea.
Okay.
I mean, we have very specific. We've looked at his plan. I mean, he put it out for the public to see, so we looked at it. And there's like I said, we have some very specific problems with it. I don't think that anybody, regardless of who you voted for in the state of Louisiana, should be happy with the state of the plan as it is now.
Well, but people whose premiums have increased since the Affordable Care Act because of the industry itself, for example.
Yeah, I have friends who've been affected this way, and they should be here too.
Mm-hmm. No, I completely agree, and perhaps some of those people will be. People who have their monthly premiums double. I did hear of one case of it tripling. So, but let me ask you this: from the meeting that you guys held the other day with your group and your folks that are members, the one or two phrases that were recorded about that we have at our website. One or two phrases kind of made me go, because of the idea that, if you're not being heard, then we're just going to leave. I thought that was kind of rough in the sense that I felt like that there might have been an intent to just disrupt and not actually ask questions.
No, I mean, the thing is, we want Cassidy to answer questions. We want answers to our questions. That's it.
But that's what I want too. And that's what I want too. And right before we put you on the air, you told me you wanted more objectivity in this interview than when I talked to you yesterday on the phone. And I felt like I was very fair with you.
The website didn't appear very objective. It focused entirely on the idea that we were going to be protesting in the manner that people in Metairie did. Our objective is just to get answers to our questions, period. We've called Senator Cassidy. We've gone to his office. We've emailed. We've written. No answers are forthcoming. All he's been giving us is his boilerplate product that leaves a lot of questions, and anybody in Louisiana should have those questions.
Well, I'll give it to you, James.
We want answers to those questions now. That's what we want. There's no intent to be disruptive, but I'm not going to say that we just want to sit there and listen to him tell us the same thing that we already know. We want answers.
Well, the deal, of course, if we would have had a recording of the hour-and-a-half long meeting, obviously that would give context to everything, but
feel free to come to the next meeting and record it all you like. Don't film it.
Well,
I'll help you.
Yeah, and some of those that, instructions to give are how to deal with if he's not answering your question. How to, there is at one point where it says you have to dominate this whole meeting. What does that say to the actual, the folks who aren't part of your group, who have the same concerns, to get their concerns out there if they're not?
To say the actual citizens of Louisiana, because I
No, you are. Yeah, no, we do. We know you are one, and a lot of people in your group are one. But other people who aren't.
Yeah, other people that aren't part of your group.
Other people who just aren't part of your group. A lot is made in that meeting about wanting to just try to dominate this thing. Is that fair?
His his proceedings in other town halls as they extol the virtues of Donald Trump and how much he's doing for America. I could turn on Fox News. Hell, I can turn on KPEL and hear that. I don't need to hear that. What I need to hear is answers to my questions about his health care plan, period.
That is fair.
And that's totally fair. That's totally fair. But so does the guy next to you who maybe doesn't agree with Indivisible Acadiana.
I don't know what there is to disagree with. I mean, I would hope.
Well, it's America. We're all a bunch of different people.
Hey, they'll have an opportunity to ask their questions too. I mean,
I think that's what we're really getting at and asking is, you know, is it room for all, or is it room just for people who want to dominate the conversation? And, you know,
Indivisible isn't just about liberals like me. It's anybody who has questions about the legislation that's coming down here. It's just meant to encourage citizen participation in the political process, which I think is entirely appropriate and completely American.
So if this was James Proctor's world and you could control exactly what happens after, what would you have happen as a result of this meeting? What is the ultimate outcome that you'd like to hear from Senator Cassidy?
I'd like to hear him say specific things that he plans to do to change his plan to address the things that we're talking about in there. The fact that many Louisianans don't have the money for these health savings accounts, that they're going to be hit hard by these high deductibles. And one of the things he says in there basically is that if you get laid off, and a lot of us got laid off in the oil field, I'm one of them, you'll lose your health care. You know, your premiums will go through the roof. You'll lose your pre-existing condition coverage. But that's a brutal fact for a lot of people.
You're not going to lose. His plans don't say lose your for pre-existing conditions. He does not
if you don't maintain your coverage. But how many people can successfully negotiate COBRA and things like that? Look, these are
nobody.
I think that might be a little bit of a misunderstanding because his thing keeps that specific part, the pre-existing condition part. You know, the maintaining coverage thing.
But, you know, the thing of it is there are a lot of...
You guys have read his plan, I suppose.
Yeah, no, we've read all three plans. And that was the one thing because, you know, people on both sides of the aisle will say that the pre-existing condition, the whole thing is one of the best parts that have come out of the Affordable Care Act.
That's one of them, yeah. You know, the idea that everybody gets some kind of coverage they can afford, the coverage that actually means something. I feel like his plan kind of turns the clock back to those years before the ACA when you could get coverage, but it would basically be meaningless coverage. You know, the deductibles would be high, the premiums would be high.
But the thing is premiums are going to be high for people and deductibles are going to be high. But when the Affordable Care Act was passed, yes, many millions of more people got on to get health care, but they were being subsidized by other individuals who then had to pay double and triple. Do you agree or disagree with that?
Well, of course. I didn't say that the situation was fixed. Far from it. I just don't think that Cassidy's plan is the right answer. I don't think it has all the answers.
What would be the right answer? Is there a plan out there that would be better?
Well, you know, I'm kind of waiting to hear. I would have actually expected that other people in the state would have come up with another plan, an alternative, or other coherent criticisms. I'm not a healthcare expert. All I know is that when I read his plan, I see things in it that I strongly object to, and I think everybody in Louisiana should strongly object to.
Yeah. I thought was very interesting in the beginning of our conversation. You said that people making $60,000 a year cannot. I'm sorry, what?
The median income.
You said 60?
Below the median income.
60. Yeah, 60. That they can't afford to pay $2,000 to $3,000 a year for health insurance.
No. What I said is this: when you're maybe I was unclear. If you're talking about a health savings account, you're talking about people who aren't usually budgeting for that kind of stuff. And then on top of the HSA, you're talking about deductibles that, as we know, $10,000, $20,000 plans that have, you know, big holes in the coverage. You know, there's a lot of things like that. So, you know.
Well, I guess my question is, healthcare.
It's going to be a burden.
Healthcare is not affordable for anybody anymore, so that's not the answer. But if we keep going on the government to get us there by taxing other people...
Hold on a second. It's plenty affordable in other countries that live just the same lives as we do here.
No, that's baloney. That sounds good on a sound card or a sound bite, but don't pull up some random thing that's from some random country and everybody does it better. If everybody does it better, why do people come to the United States to get their health care? If everybody everywhere else does it better, I do not want to pay 40% in taxes like some of these European countries, and then get my health care for free and have to wait 6 months for a hip replacement.
So what do you have to say to that, James?
To Cassidy about his health care plan and my specific objections to it. You know, if you want to have a conversation about tax policy, why don't we do that some other time?
Well, and I'm just saying that please keep an open mind that people that may come to this meeting maybe don't agree with Indivisible Acadiana because they don't want to pay, and they're paying a whole bunch more now. And it's not that they don't want people to have health care. It's not that they don't want people to have health care. It's just, you know, it's got to be reasonable, too. I mean, I just the people here that work in this building, I know how much they've been paying over the years, and they can't afford it either.
Well, yeah, I agree.
But you know what?
There's no reason that the richest country on earth we can't have good health care.
And I agree with you. But there's also, but you know what?
$5 million on the ground in Iraq, we can certainly spend that much on health care in this country.
Well, you know what? Taking security out of the issue, whether people agree or disagree on that, when we're talking about health care and the affordability of it, we had a problem way before ACA because the premiums were going up. Yes. But you can't.
Been fixed, yeah.
Right.
10% a year, more than 2% a year.
But one thing I think that needs to be considered, too, is that you can't expect someone else who's doing their part to then double the part that they're doing or triple the part that they're doing because somebody else doesn't want to do it. So, you know, there are people who fundamentally have a problem with.
Okay, it sounds like you're blaming people who basically are poor for being poor. I don't really
oh, my God. Come on, James.
But that's saying that people who don't want to contribute.
Let me ask you something. How come if you have $60,000 a year and you can't afford $2,000 to $3,000 a year for a basic policy, but do the math on other stuff? I'm sorry. Sometimes it does come down to priorities. And don't tell me it's because I don't like poor people. That's baloney.
I didn't suggest that. You're the one
I work at a radio station, bro. We are not millionaires here. This is not TV.
I've been in the news business. I know how it is.
Well, then you know.
I'm not asking for special treatment for anybody. What I'm saying is we got to resolve this problem. And I don't think that Cassidy's plan is a complete resolution. That's it. I don't think it's going to be good. If it's fully implemented the way he proposes, I don't think it'll be a complete.
Let me ask you this. If this audio had not been available, and not been put into the news story and aired.
Like I said, I invite you to come to any of our meetings and record them.
No. You know, I'm not done with my question. Would the rally or protest or town hall meeting, or let's just say, would the town hall meeting, would it have been different if nobody knew about the plan or what was discussed there? Would it have been different? Would you have dominated by shouting and yelling?
Why don't you ask me after it's all over? You know, because I don't know how it's going to be. All I know is this: I want to ask Cassidy questions. I hope that he'll man up and answer questions instead of giving us a PowerPoint presentation and extolling the virtues of Donald Trump. I don't need to hear that. I need to hear answers that are going to affect my pocketbook and the pocketbook of everybody in the state of Louisiana.
What's your question, Ralph?
No, I wanted to just hear the rest of what he was going to say.
You know, maybe you just don't like the answers.
Well, no, of course I don't like the answers.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is sometimes
I like his plan. I think it needs work.
And that's fine. But
I think as citizens, it's our right to get in there and say, "Hey, Cassidy,
absolutely.
We want you to change your plan about these specific things." Hey, look, medical bills are still a leading cause of bankruptcy in this country.
I know, and it's awful. I mean, it's awful.
The richest country on earth. How the hell can we let this happen?
I don't know, but shouting over people at meetings is not going to accomplish that. And I'm just telling you, I think that.
You know, I can't speak for what happened in Metairie. Okay, I don't run in.
I agree.
I'm a member of the Indivisible Acadiana. We want answers. Period.
Well, and that's good.
I'm committed to respecting and respectful intercourse, discussion with my elected representatives. At the same time, I don't want to be disrespected and have him show me a PowerPoint slide and talk about how great Donald Trump is. I don't want to hear that.
What is he? Wait. I have to. You've said that several times. Okay, give me 1 second. What does he do about Donald Trump? Where have you been at a town hall meeting?
What I have seen at the other meetings that he's gone to is he spent a lot of time talking about how Donald Trump's infrastructure plan is going to help America and stuff like that. I don't care. I don't care about that. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here about specific answers to questions I have.
But it's not just. But it's not just your town hall meeting. it's not just your meeting, James. Maybe other people do want to hear that.
They will have their opportunity to ask those questions.
That's true.
As well.
I just don't, I'm
not stopping them. I'm just telling you, called me, and I'm telling you what I want to talk about. I don't want to hear about Trump. Look, if he was answering these questions by email or by phone or by letter, we wouldn't be having this discussion. We would have the answers already, and we could move on to a more coherent criticism of his policy, and we would achieve a resolution together as citizens of Louisiana. Unfortunately, he's not answering the questions.
Well, okay.
Okay, so we do have to kind of wrap up for time. James Proctor, we appreciate your phone call.
Yes.
We do have the audio posted.
It's been a lot of fun.
Well, no, and I also want to thank you because I think it's important that people stay involved in the process, and I think that part's great. I really do.
Hey, and we welcome anybody and everybody. I mean, if more people have come down as a result of hearing about, maybe my ill chosen words, or the meeting that got recorded, great. If more people are interested in the outcome, I am all for it because more eyes on this is going to be a better plan.
And I agree with you, too, but I would also invite you because whether it was said before our interview or right at the beginning of our interview, the people in your group need to give KPEL a chance, and the people in your group need to call our shows. Because if we can have a conversation and have a discourse.
Just like this one.
And please don't label us and put us in one pigeonhole because you've decided we're one way. Because, I think that's so unfair. And I think you are a guy that does care about yourself and your community and you're expressing your view. Have those people have those discussions on KPEL because that's the whole point of being here.
We'd be happy to.
And I appreciate your time. I really, really do.
Thank you very much.
Thanks and have a good day.
All right, so we will see what happens. James Proctor, appreciate your time. So we'll see what happens. The 9:30 meeting, just about an hour and a half away. It does seem like a softening from what we have heard. If what he was telling us about his goals and everything are genuine, we have no reason to believe they're not.
Sure.
It's different than what we heard on the recordings, which was our whole point for even talking about this to start with yesterday, because in the recordings, it's all about make sure you dominate the coverage. Make sure, if you're getting stonewalled and he's talking about something else, you start to boo. I mean, they were specific instructions. At one point, what did we hear? Dress like students and housewives to blend into the crowd.
Yeah.
And so, maybe that might be his point of view, and maybe it has changed since that meeting happened, which was earlier this week, hour and a half long meeting.
And that's what I was asking.
But
is it going to be different now because somebody saw into what the plan was? And my thing is, let's have civil discourse. And we can do it every day. This is your town hall meeting every day. But we don't get enough people calling in who have a different view because they get upset or they call us names or, let's just have a conversation. I will tell you this. The health savings accounts, they're funded for the poorer people. And it's through tax credits. Mm-hmm. So it's there, James. That part is there. And the other part is everybody wants to help other people. Just because people may differ philosophically doesn't mean that we don't have a heart and we don't care. But at the same time, I have a small little tiny budget. And I've got to work within that budget. But sometimes when I look at my priorities versus other people's priorities, it doesn't match up. And that's fine. Have any priority you want. Just don't ask me to pay for it.
All right, it is 7:58. We will take your calls in the next hour about that interview we just had with James Proctor. We're going to quickly turn it around, get it up on our website, kpel965.com, and to continue to cover this story throughout the day today. Stay with us. Coming up, news at the top of the hour, and then we continue with your calls at 232-1542. This is Acadiana's Morning News.